Okay, so I'm making a tier list of the legendary characters in the new Tower of God and the Great Journeys game. This is going to be only legendary characters because as of right now, I only have the translations for these legendary characters. So, yeah, if you want to skip to the end, you can just go all the way there to check the tier list. But if you want to, sit through this whole video and see for that specific character why, I'll probably put timestamps. But if you want to see why I put this character in that tier, then you can also do that, right? So I've been playing this game since release. It's been 5 days now, I believe, and I've been playing 15 hours plus a day. There isn't really much to do in terms of content. Like realistically, there's only the story, PvP, the little points boss, and then just I guess tower of trials, right? The tower floors where you go up the floors. Besides that, there's just the idol as well, which I guess you can consider content because they actually get harder throughout the floors, right? If you actually sit there and watch it and you fight the bosses, the higher level goes, the higher or the harder it gets. So yeah, we're just gonna start off with this bomb that everybody gets. Now, honestly, I'm going to just put this bomb in S tier, right? Even though this bomb, even if he's the worst character in the world, there's nothing we can do about it. This bomb is forced to be on your team, all right? Now, that's not a great reason for him to be an S, but there's no reason for me to put him in D because he's trash when they can't do anything about it. Literally, how this game works is he has to be on your team, right? The game gives you this bomb for free, and he's on your team. You can't take him off the team. You could you could move him on, for the positions on your team, but you can't take him off the team. So we can just go over what he does real quick. But at the end of the day, he can't come off your team, so he might as well just be an S since he can't be removed. So his first skill deals 75% up to 228.88% of magic damage and 10% up to 30% vampiric damage. Is that how you say it? 2 times. Right now, that's pretty good. He does hit hard, right? The fact that he's dealing a lot of magic damage and then he has this vampiric damage, is that how you say it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how you say it. And he hits that twice is going to be very good, right? It's going to get a lot of numbers out. Obviously, it goes higher based on your level and your transcendence, but that's going to, go all the way up, and that's going to be very good. He's going to be hitting multiple times there to, get the boss's HP a bit lower and stuff like that. So that's not really that bad. Second skill deals 50% up to 151.25% of magic damage to enemies within range. So it's kind of like an AoE. Basically, an AoE is just if they're in range, then they'll get hit for that number. Now, it obviously depends on what his magic damage is, and that's based on your level, right? I don't currently have the game open because I closed it to do this video, but again, take with a grain of salt. This is based off of what your magic damage is, right? You could have your magic damage be very high and it'll go, he'll go insane. So his passive increases 15% up to 45% magic damage. So all around, he's a magic damage character. So I would recommend putting a weapon that also increases his magic damage. Hopefully I can get assets on the weapons too and then go over all of them too, because I think that's something that's very important in this game, especially since they have weapon specific specific weapons for specific characters, right? So he has his actually, like, this bomb has his own weapon, but if you just don't have it and you want to put a 4-star weapon or I guess a purple weapon on him, make sure you put a weapon that has magic damage because he's completely based off of magic damage, right? And then his EX, which is his ultimate, I believe, it deals 25% up to 75.63% magic damage to enemies within range 6 times. So that's the little spin tornado AoE he does. That does hit a lot. That actually does go insane. So yeah, again, that is pretty good. It's an AoE which will clear a lot of enemies faster and, hit most of the enemies to lower their damage equally, I believe, right? Because it doesn't say it hits one enemy 6 times like another character on here, but it does say it hits enemies within the range 6 times. So obviously, it being AoE, hitting 6 times will be very beneficial. Now TR, I believe you only get TR if you have the weapon, right? I don't have any character specific weapons, but I did fight multiple people in PvP who have specific characters weapons, and these weapons make your character insane. They basically have a transformation. That's what these characters do. That's what these are. They're transformations, right? So his transformation, I guess that's what TR actually stands for, maybe, increases normal attack power, which deals 5% vampiric damage for 7 seconds. Deals 75% magic damage and 5% vampiric damage 5 times. So he has, I guess, a cap of 5 times. Oh no, he deals an attack that hits 5 times. It doesn't say if it's AoE or if it hits all enemies or one enemies. I'm assuming it hits all enemies. But he has this that hits it 5 times. I guess it's like a second ultimate then, maybe. Because it says it increases his normal attack power, which deals 5% vampiric damage for 7 seconds, and then he deals 75% magic damage and 5% vampiric damage 5 times. So that most likely will just be, what's it called? That's probably just like a one-time thing, and then it goes away. But that's pretty good, right? But again, like I said, there's really nothing you can do about the bomb. He's forced to be on your team, so he's an S. Next, we have Anak. So we're going to go here and see what Anak does. I personally don't own Anak, so I can't really say what, we'll go down the list, actually. So I guess we'll go to Khun Ran, right? So I do own Khun Ran. I do think he is a fantastic character from what I've seen alone, but let's just go over his thing to see if we can, back it up. So Khun Ran here. Right? Oh, I got a notification on my phone. It's fine. Okay, Khun Ran here. What does he do? Okay, so skill 1. Deals 75% up to 226.88% magic damage around the target and I'm just going to say electrocutes, yeah. Electrocutes 10% chance, 10% attack power for 5 seconds. So I guess this is like a debuff, like a shock debuff, electric debuff, where they get electrocuted and it has a 10% chance to proc, but does 10% attack power. So if he procs this electrocute, or I'm just going to say electro, it sounds better. If he procs electro on a character or an enemy, they're going to take 10% attack power for 5 seconds, which is pretty good, right? It's a debuff skill, so it's a nice way to get... Actually, it's pretty good for bosses too, right? This is not even just PvP. This is good for bosses too. Because if bosses get hit with this, for 5 seconds, they're going to be taking damage over time, which is going to lower their HP, whether you're attacking or not, right? Because it's a debuff. So a skill like that is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. His second skill is more of a buff skill. Increases 30% up to 91% magic damage for 8 seconds. That is pretty good since his first skill and his ultimate and his transformation are all based on magic damage. The fact that it can go all the way up to 91% on a skill for 8 seconds is kind of cracked, right? Obviously, having that all the way at 91% is going to be very beneficial when you get your ultimate off or if you transform, right? So that's a pretty good second skill, right? He doesn't have 2 attack skills like Bomb, but he does have a very good support. I don't believe there's any character in this game that actually supports the whole team in terms of increasing damage, but I do know there's characters that heal the whole team, and there's characters that have damage reduction for the whole team, right? So his passive increases 15% up to 45% magic damage. So having a passive already built up at 45% and his second skill going up to 91% magic damage makes that 136% magic damage you're getting maxed on top of your first skill, which goes up to 226.88% magic damage, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, his passive and second skill increases his magic damage a lot. So he's going to hit hard. Again, it always comes down to stats, but this is just off his skills, right? We don't have stats here because everybody's stats are going to be different. It's based off your level, right? It's not like you could be a level 10 with a maxed, level Ran, right? It's basically off of your account level. So we can't really go off of stats right now. It's just going to be off of skills, right? And his ultimate deals 150% up to 453.75% magic damage in a straight line, which electrocutes 10% attack powers for it. So this guaranteed procs, right? As you see in his first skill, he has a 10% chance of proccing this debuff, but on his ultimate, he guaranteed procs the electro debuff, right? Which does 10% attack power for 5 seconds. So it just keeps electrocuting them for 5 seconds, right? That's pretty good. Obviously, it's very good. The fact that it goes up to 400, keep in mind, 453.75% magic damage. On top of the 45 you're getting from his passive max, and then the 91 you're getting from his second skill. So if you proc his second skill and use his ultimate right after, that's going to be pretty insane, actually. It's going to hit very hard. And it's in a straight line, so that's going to hit every enemy, I believe. Or if they say straight line, it might just hit the first and the front and the back enemy. I don't know if it hits the two side enemies, but if it does hit all enemies, then that's very good to chip away a lot of HP on enemies, right? Especially solo bosses. That's actually very good, right? His transformation increases his normal attack power for 7 seconds, deals 40% magic damage around target 5 times and electrocutes 10% attack power for 5 seconds. So that's pretty good. He's dealing 40% magic damage 5 times, so 40 times 5, what do you got there? You got 200% magic damage he's doing basically in total, on top of his passive and his second skill, right? And then obviously again the 10% attack power. It doesn't seem like this 10% can go up. I think it stays 10% the whole way, but you know, that is actually pretty good. So I guess as a solo character, he is good. I do believe though he isn't as tanky, right? His HP is like a glass cannon, right? From what I've seen, and I've used him since the guest release, he's a glass cannon character. So just for that, I am going to put him S tier. I do think he's one of the better units you can have in the game. But yeah, just keep that. He hits hard. He just might be a glass cannon, right? Again, I can't really confirm on stats because it's based on your account level. We don't all have the same stats, right? Keep that in mind. Next, we have Hasung, right? Hasung Yu, right? So I'm just gonna say Yu, right? So I have fought. I don't own this character, but I've fought him a lot. He is a tower floor boss. He's used in PvP a lot, and I haven't fought him in the story yet, but he is a boss for the tower, and he is used in PvP a lot too, from what I've seen in my personal server. So keep that in mind. I know he has some AoE moves too, so let me just make sure you guys see him. Yep. So skill 1 deals 75% damage, 200 up to 222.88% magic damage to enemies in the front, and knocks with knockback effect. So that knocks the enemies back. That's pretty good actually, because what knockback does is it pushes them back. So while they're running up back to their spot, they actually can still take damage. So it's kind of a good way to, it's kind of like a stun, right? It's kind of like a stun, you know what I mean? Because they're getting knocked back, but while they're running back up to go back to their position to attack you, you can still be doing damage to them. So it's kind of like a little stun for a couple seconds, which can be useful. And it is to enemies in the front. I believe when you're fighting enemies in story or in tower, multiple enemies can be in the front, but in PvP there's only one enemy in the front, unless they all decide to run up to the front, which is obviously, you know, something a lot of characters do. I know Bomb is usually in the front for me, and for everybody else, so he always runs up to the front. I know characters like Yuri Jahad runs up to the front. I know Khun Ran doesn't. He stays in the back, right? He stays all the way in the back. He doesn't move an inch. And there's stuff like that. So there's some characters that run all the way to the front, which is good. Majority of the characters I own do run to the front, but there are some characters who just stay put in the back, right? So keep that in mind. I'll let you guys know if what I have, if they run up to the front or if they just stay in put, right? So that's a pretty good skill, especially since from what I've seen, there is a decent amount of characters that run up to the front, right? Second skill, deal 25% up to 75.63% magic damage to enemies within range 3 times. So now you have to multiply that by 3. That's actually pretty good. That's 150 plus percent, I should say, magic damage to enemies within range 3 times. I just don't have the cooldowns for all of these, right? I believe they're all like 9-7 seconds, but it's not really that much of an issue, right? I mean, I guess something 7-9 seconds is bad, because some enemies on higher floors of story one bang you, right? So you can only use a move once and they're dead. You know what I mean? I know it says 9 seconds and that seems short, but if your character is not completely tanking, or if you don't have a tank on your team, you're most likely going to just lose that character instantly, right? So keep that in mind, right? So dealing up to 150% magic damage in total to enemies within range is pretty good. But one thing I do believe is that's only going to also hit the front units, because from what I've seen, this Hasung, I'm gonna say Hasung, he stays in the back as well. He doesn't run up to the front like Yuri Jahad and Bomb. He stays in the back as well, where he is. Wherever you put him on your team, he stays there. So that will probably only affect, I believe, the front. If he's all the way in the front, a front and middle row for sure. Second row, just front. Third row, most likely just front, I believe. Actually, you probably don't want him in the back. You probably want him in the middle row. But yeah, I mean, it's within range, right? 3 times. So that's probably only hitting one enemy, which is in the front. All right. His passive increases 45 up to 45% magic damage, based 15%. That's average. It seems like these characters don't have insane passives yet. Right now, they only have these little, increased magic damage or physical damage passives. So that's pretty good, right? Keep in mind, since this is his passive, you're gonna always want to implement these stats into these. So where it says deals 25% magic damage, you might as well add the 50% into that because it affects. We don't know. I personally don't know if these go into the team as well, but I don't believe they do. Right, his EX, which is his ultimate, deals 50% up to 151.25% magic damage to enemies within range 10 times. That is good. That is good. That's really good. That's gonna hit hard, and that's hitting 10 times. That's pretty good. That ultimate is actually pretty good. Right now, that's probably the best ultimate there because, again, that's hitting 10 times. So multiply it by 10 times. Or you don't even, I probably don't multiply by 10 times, but it's probably being split 10 ways, right? But still, 10 hits on an enemy is pretty good, right? That's going to do something, so that's pretty good, right? Increases normal attack power and then his transformation increases normal attack power for 7 seconds. So it seems like, I think right now, every transform has this part, which just increases their attack, for 7 seconds, and it deals 50% magic damage around the target 3 times. Not the craziest transformation. Definitely not as good as someone like Ran's here. Khun Ran's there. So yeah, I mean, realistically, I'm not sure if I want to put him so high up. I'm probably going to put him in A. Maybe, I mean, I could see him only in A. Probably B, because one, his kit is only going to mainly focus on the front line units. And 2, his transformation doesn't really save him, right? It's only doing 50% magic damage around the target. So he has to be close to an enemy, he has to be close to them, right? And for a character that stays put, that means enemies have to run up to him. But it depends on how you build your team or how they build their team, basically. So I'm going to actually put him in B. I'm not going to put him in A. I don't think he's right under these two, but I think I'm going to keep him in B. Next we have, let's see, Ehwa, right? This is the first limited character on the in the game, right? Right. So I believe she's good. If she is the first limited character, she should be pretty good, right? And what that means is she has a solo banner, right? You can't pull her on the standard banner, right? You could pull him on the standard banner, you can pull him on the standard banner, and he comes to you for free, right? But I don't believe you could pull her on the standard banner, right? Because she has a limited banner. All skills are considered level 1 and transcendent 0, like always, right? So let's see what Ehwa has here. So deals 50%. This is her skill 1. Deals 50%. Deals 50% up to 151.25% magic damage and burns 10% chance. So it's basically what Khun Ran has, but instead of electro, it's burn, right? I think the multiplier is lower though. Yeah, so hers is only 50% up to 151%, while Khun Ran's is like 75% up to 200. This is the exact same thing, right? But it's just, it's a lower multiplier for her. So that's, now that we see this is something you could compare, like now we know how good a character is compared to other characters, right? Because this first skill that Ehwa has is literally the same skill Khun Ran has, but the multiplier on this is lower. And she's not hitting more, this is just worse than Khun Ran's, right? Because they both do 10% of attack power and they both have a 10% chance to proc. And they both last for 5 seconds. So this isn't as good as someone like Khun Ran's, so keep that in mind. But obviously, it's still going to be doing damage. So that's not really a crazy first skill compared to Khun Ran's, but yeah. Second skill deals 50% up to 151.25% magic damage to enemies in the front and burns 10% chance. So it's basically the second skill or the first skill, but it's only to the front enemies. Wow. So the first skill is to all enemies, and the second skill is to the front enemies. Let me just check Khun Ran's. Is his to the front? His is to all enemies too, right? So, hers is only to the front enemies there. I don't know how I feel about this. First, her first strong attack is not doing as hard as Khun Ran's, which is a good comparison because it's the same move. Just a worse multiplier on the numbers there. And her second skill is the same thing as her first skill, but instead of attacking all the enemies, it's only attacking the first enemy. That could be good in terms of fighting a solo enemy, but it doesn't really make a difference if the first attack is attacking all enemies, and if you're fighting one enemy, you're still fighting, even if it is one enemy in there in the front, you're still attacking all enemies because it's one enemy, right? So I'm not really sure about her kit there. That's kind of wonky to me. The multiplier is pretty low compared to the other numbers we've seen. Her passive is the standard, increases 15% up to 45% magic damage. And then her passive deals 100% up to 302.5% magic damage in the center of the enemies who have the highest attack power. That's good. Right? The fact that she's guaranteed attacking the enemy with the highest attack power is good, because before you get into a story stage or a tower stage, not PvP really, but a tower stage or story stage mainly, you can sit there. Well, not a tower stage, really just story stage. You can sit there and charge your ultimate up and then go into the fight. You don't have to go into the fight and wait for it to build up there. You can literally just stand there and wait for your passive to build up, or not your passive, your ultimate to build up before you go fight a boss. So the fact that she's guaranteed hitting the enemy with the highest attack power, which will mainly, in most cases, be the boss, that is a good way to get rid of the boss very quickly. So I will say that ultimate is pretty good. Right, her transform, her TR, I guess, increases normal attack power by 7 seconds like everybody else's, and then deals 75% magic damage around the target and burns 10 Oh, so she's still okay. She's probably a B tier character as well, because again, her kit is a perfect character to compare to Khun Ran's. Her TR is the same as his, but on his TR, he also has 75%, but instead of a 10% chance, he guaranteed. Oh, it's 40%. It's less, but he guaranteed procs the electro, and they hit 5 times. Well, hers is 75% chance to one enemy, or to one enemy, and then has a 10% chance of burning for 5 seconds. So I think I would rather have 45 or a 40% magic damage that hits 5 times and guaranteed proc my electro debuff, rather than having a 10% chance of proccing my burn debuff with a 75% damage to one enemy for 5 seconds. Right? That's the 5 seconds is only if I proc the burn too, by the way. So you might as well, if you don't proc it, then you don't have this part, and it just becomes this part, which is not really that crazy. So honestly, in my opinion, I think I'm just going to put her in B as well. That's not really something crazy compared to her. I don't think she's like right under him, as she has a lot of flaws. The best thing I would say about this Ehwa is that her ultimate hits the enemy with the highest attack. That would be an enemy such as, for example, the bomb on 5-7. That boss is basically impossible to beat. 5-7, that boss is diff e cult. So, keep that in mind. And then bosses after that are a bit harder too. So that is pretty good to have, though, her ultimate. Besides that, her moves are very lackluster compared to characters like Khun Ran. You know what I mean? So yeah. Next character we have, let's see, Yuri Jahad. Okay, so this is a character I have myself. I use Yuri Jahad constantly. I don't use her all the time, but I use her here and there. So let's see. It deals 150% up to 453.75% physical damage and stuns for 2 turns. That's good. That's good. She's up to 453%. You know what's crazy? Her, I believe, yeah, her first skill hits harder than Ehwa's ultimate. her first skill hits harder than Ehwa's ultimate. So her first skill is better than Ehwa's ultimate. Off of the rip, you know she's better there. Because if Ehwa's best skill is her ultimate, and Yuri Jahad's first skill is hitting harder than her ultimate, and it's physical damage, and stuns for 2 seconds, that is pretty good, right? It's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Her second skill deals 100% up to 302.5% physical damage in a straight line with the knockback effect. So again, it's kind of like another stun because while they're running up to you, you could still attack them, right? It knocks them back, and then I believe knockback puts them off the screen actually for a couple seconds where they can't even attack you. So when they're running back, you can attack them, and that'll be doing numbers. So this Yuri Jahad does hit hard, right? I do believe she hits hard than Khun Ran, right? 75% up to that. Yeah, I guess his ultimate hits harder than, I guess, her first skill, but let's see what her ultimate is, right? But so far, her first and second skill are really good, right? They hit very hard, and they actually have a second effect, which is the knockback effect and the stun effect for 2 seconds, right? Her passive increases 15% of her critical damage. 15% up to 45% critical damage. I'm not sure how I feel about that, as I don't know exactly what the crit chance of Yuri Jahad is, but I feel like if it was increases physical damage, she'd be a lot better. But critical damage isn't really as crazy, as she's not guaranteed to crit. While, for example, someone like, I guess, Bomb, Ran, and Ehwa are all buffing up their magic damage, which is what they all need. Which they all need for their skills, right? So there's that. Her ultimate deals 400% up to 1,210% physical damage in the center of the. Oh my days, yo, she hits hard. Yo, she hits hard. Up to 1,210% physical damage in the center of the enemy with the highest attack power. Guaranteed better than Ehwa. That's insane. That's high. I think right now that's the highest we've seen for a multiplier on a skill, on an ultimate or anything. That's high. 1,210% max. That's broken. That's broken. TR increase. Okay, so we always have the increased normal attack power for 7 seconds, which is just increasing their attack, right? It's just increasing their attack for 7 seconds. We don't know the percent though. Deals 75% physical damage 2 times. And then bleed 10% chance for 10 seconds. So her TR is again better than Ehwa's, because Ehwa has the same thing, but she doesn't hit twice. She hits once, but she hits twice, and then she again has bleed, which is same thing as burn and electro. Maybe the multiplier for bleed, shock, and bleed, electro. What's it called? Electrocute, bleed, electrocute, and burn maybe have different multipliers in terms of damage, but the Ehwa and Yuri Jahad have a 10% chance of proccing it, while Khun Ran guaranteed procs it, right? But hitting 2 times, which is of 75% physical damage, is pretty good, right? So that's if you only get these, by the way, if you have their weapon. If you don't have their weapon, then don't expect to, see this, right? But Yuri Jahad is actually like an S tier unit, bro. That's kind of broken. That's gonna help you clear something like Bomb, 5/7 Bomb, because the one thing Bomb does that's annoying is he guaranteed kills your backline unit. Yuri Jahad is a character that runs up all the way to the front. So if you can get her ultimate to proc with that 1,210%, she will basically do more than half of his HP. Heck, she might just one bank him with that, right? If she procs her ultimates and uses it on him, since he, 1, is the weakest or the only enemy, and 2, that's a high multiplier. So keep that in mind, right? That's pretty good. She right now is the hardest hitting unit out of all 5 of the characters we went through, right? Keep that in mind. Second character is Beta, right? We got, or not second, what is this? 6th character we have here is Beta. Right, so let's look at Beta. I don't own Beta. I fought Beta once in PvP, so this is just gonna be my initial reaction, basically, on what he can do and how good he is off of his kit off paper, right? Because I don't really have, experience with this guy, so I can't really say how good he is. But I I guess off of skills, we can see how good he is, right? So skill 1 deals 150% up to 453.75% physical damage to enemies within range. I guess that's not bad. It depends on what they mean when they say within range. What does that equal to? Because like when they say enemies within range, is that front line and second line? It's probably front line and second line, I'm thinking, because as you know, there's some characters that attack only the front line, and there's characters that attack the whole field. So I assume when it says within range, it's front and middle line, right? That's what I assume. But he does up to 453.75% physical damage, right? His second skill increases 30% up to 91% attack speed. That's pretty good. And 10% up to 30% physical damage for 8 seconds. So this is kind of like Khun Ran's second skill. The difference is Khun Ran is only buffing up his what was it? His magic damage, while this beta is actually increasing his attack speed and his physical damage. But his physical damage is actually lower than what Ran is building up his magic damage, right? But attack speed, that's pretty good, right? Attacking multiple times or attacking more fast with a character like him who's hitting up to 453% is pretty good at max, right? So I'm not going to lie. And then, of course, he's also increasing his physical damage a lot more too. So that's pretty good. His passive also increases his attack speed by up to 30%. By 10% up to 30%. That's pretty good. He's going to be attacking very efficiently. He's going to attack quickly and attack multiple. He's going to attack more times than someone like Yuri Jahad, basically, right? His ultimate deals 50% up to 151% physical damage 5 times. Not the craziest, but that is, I guess, okay, right? Where did I go? Oh, I guess I went to another thing. Where is translations? Oh. Character translations. I apologize for that. Yeah. And then his TR increases, deals 80% physical damage to enemies within range 3 times. So I guess something like this is much better than someone like, I guess, not Yuri Jahad, but I guess it's the same actually, but low, because Yu has 50% and Beta has 80%. So that's better than someone like Yu's, right? Realistically, I think Beta is actually an A-tier character. One, he's going to be attacking much faster than the average character because he's increasing his attack speed by a lot. So if you know the boss is going to kill you quickly, Beta is your best option to just do damage to him as fast and lower his HP as fast as possible. Does he hit the hardest in the game? No, but the fact that he has that ability to constantly attack quicker than the average unit off of paper, because again, I don't have experience with this character, in my opinion, is a good enough reason for him to be in A tier, right? From what I've tested, right? Obviously, I'm not the best player in this game, but I've been playing 5 days in a row, and I've already made it to, basically endgame, I guess, right? Not basically endgame, but I've made it pretty far, and the stages where literally people are making videos on how to beat 5-7. I feel like if you beat 5-7, then you can have an opinion. Not you can have an opinion, but you have more experience, because 5-7 is literally a boss that guarantee one-shots your character, and then having bomb guaranteed on your team makes it that you really only have 2 characters on your team. You know what I mean? Bomb is not bad, don't get me wrong, but it's basically how it works. So there is that. Now, Reflejo, is that how you say it? Reflejo? This is a character I use all the time. So the difference between this character and other characters and me and this character is that I actually have this character T3. I pulled this character 4 times in a row. So I pulled him and I pulled 3 dupes of him. So I pulled him 4 times in a row. So let's see. I mean, he is the reason why I was able to beat 5-7, but it took him to be T3 to do that. So obviously, I assume you're going to need to have dupes of a character to beat these harder stages, but that's just the reality of a gacha game and games in general, right? So first skill deals 100 up to 302.5% physical damage to enemies within range 2 times, and reduces 26 up to 79 enemies defense for 80 for 8 seconds. That's very good. Lowering his the enemy's defense for 8 seconds means it's not only off of this skill. If he's reducing the enemy's defense for 8 seconds, that means when he uses his first skill, you can instantly use his ultimate or his second skill, and while those 8 seconds are going, their defense is still lowered. So having something like that built in on a skill is kind of broken to me, honestly. Because it's not that it lowers the defense only for this skill, it just lowers the enemy's defense completely. So if you can get the ultimate or any second skill off within the 8 seconds, their defense will be lower. That's pretty good. Deals 25% up to 75.63% physical damage to the enemy with the lowest remaining HP. That skill is good against solo enemies, honestly. Because obviously if it's one enemy, no matter what their HP is, they have the lowest HP. But against a lot of enemies, that is going to be kind of difficult because let's say it's a boss with mobs. You using your second skill is basically going to attack the enemies, then focusing on the main boss that's one banging your team. You know what I mean? So honestly, I don't see that as a huge W, but it's okay. Right, against solo bosses this is great, right? Against solo bosses it's great. Against a boss with multiple enemies it's not that great, because again, mainly the minions are going to have the lowest HP, and your second skill is going towards them instead of going toward the boss, right? Getting rid of the boss is better than getting rid of enemies, because enemies are not, minions are not doing that much damage, right? So his passive increases his physical damage by up to 45% from 15%. This is good. I feel like if Yuri Jahad has this, it would be a lot better for her. I still think she's fantastic, right? But instead of building crit, which is something you have a chance of proccing, this is guaranteed building up his physical damage. So you might as well implement these numbers into his first and second skill, which just makes him hit harder, right? His ultimate deals 250 up to 756.75% physical damage 2 times, and reduces 77 up to 233 enemies defense for 8 seconds. That's good. I think that's the second highest character, or that's the second character with the second highest multiplier for an ultimate. Yuri Jahad being 1, him being 2. But the thing is, he's reducing their defense by a lot by 8 seconds. That's a pretty good ultimate. That's actually a very good ultimate. I'm not gonna lie. That's an insane ultimate, right? His TR increases normal attack damage for 7 seconds, deals 50% physical damage to enemies within range 2 times, and reduces 26 of the enemy's defense for 2 seconds. So this guy is actually I think he's a good sub DPS, I should say. He's mainly like a support DPS, right? The fact that he's lowering the enemy's defense by multiple amounts for his TR, his ultimate, and his first skill is pretty good, right? And again, against solo enemies, that means let's say you're fighting a boss, right? The rice boss, for example, on floor 412. 412, the rice boss there. He's lowering the rice boss's defense by a certain amount for 8 seconds. Because that's the only boss, he's dealing so much to that one boss, increasing his physical damage, reducing his defense again, and doing mad damage to that one boss. That is pretty good for a character. Again, the only thing that I feel like hurts this character is his second skill, because in terms of fighting a boss with minions, or just not multiple minions, but a boss with minions, he's mainly going to go for minions over the boss, which I think isn't really that crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in high A tier. I feel like if this guaranteed attack the character with the highest attack, like someone like Yuri Jahad or Ehwa, was it? One of the two attack the character with the highest attack, that'd be a lot better than the lowest HP. So I'll put him in A. What do we got next? You got Rock. Okay. So, okay, let's see. This Rock. Alright, let's see what we got here. First skill increases 50% up to 151% critical damage. I guess that's good, but it depends on what his crit chance is, right? Again, I don't have his stats here, and stats are different based on your level, so we can't really say that's all that crazy, because if we don't know, if his crit chance is like 20% or 10%, that's not good, right? He's not gonna proc, then he's not gonna crit at all, basically. So This comes down to the way his crit chances, right? Which is, kind of a bit terrifying, right? So his second skill deals 50% up to 151.25% physical damage to enemies within range. We've seen characters with this. I believe Hasung has this, right? Within range, but it's 3 times and it's lower. Oh, it's this one. But it's ultimate, but it's for 10 times. While this is a skill. Right, it's a skill with 1 time. So, that second skill is not that crazy. Honestly. Increases his crit damage again up to 45% from 15%. Again, it's based off his crit chance. Okay, and his ultimate deals 250% up to 756.25% physical damage to the enemy with the lowest remaining HP. That's not what he has, right? That's what his second skill is, but it's a lower multiplier because it hits multiple times, and it's that's basically it. It's a lower multiplier because it hits multiple times. This is pretty good, but my problem is again, he's hitting the enemy with the lowest remaining HP. Again, a boss with minions, that means instead of using an overpowered ultimate like this that's gonna do a lot more to the boss, you're wasting this ultimate on a minion that could just die from a regular skill. You know what I mean? So this is really good against solo bosses, but against bosses with enemies, which is what you're mainly going to be seeing, isn't really that good, right? I guess on floor 5, 7, where you fight Bomb, you fight like 3 enemies, and they're all solo enemies, right? Bomb is one of them. That's good, but in majority of the stages where you're fighting a boss with an enemy, it's not that good, right? His TR, deals 50% physical damage to enemies in the front with knockback effect. I mean, that's not bad. Again, giving them time to, do damage to them. Honestly, Rock is a C tier character. Reason being is he's mainly increasing his crit damage. Obviously, this is just off of paper. So if I don't know what his crit chance is, there's no website where I can just go search up his crit chance off rip. You know what I mean? There's none of that yet. So I don't know what his crit chance is. If his crit chance is 10%, if he's increasing his crit damage by 1,000%, but has a 10% chance of proccing that, is that really good? No, that's not good at all. You know what I mean? So for now, I'm going to keep him in C tier, but in the future, if I do pull him, or if any of you guys, can show me his crit chance in the Discord, which I need to promote. If you guys want to join the Discord, I'll leave the link in the description, right? There's people here that can help you, right? If you want, show me his crit chance, and then we'll fix him up, because right now, he's mainly focused on his crit damage, but I don't know his crit chances, right? So next character, we have Xia Xia. I think that's how you say it. When it's Xia, it's like Xia. So I think it's Xia Xia. Xia Xia, right? If it's not Xia Xia, I apologize. Okay. Now this is good. Her first skill increases 300 up to 908 crit damage for all allies. Rock only does it to himself, and it's such a lower number. So why use someone like Rock to buff up himself when you could use someone like Xia Xia, who's increasing it to all allies for 8 seconds? And then if there's a character who has like 100% chance to crit or something, or is only critting, damn, they're hitting hard. They're going to be hitting hard. That's pretty good, right? First skill, that's looking fantastic for a support skill. Second skill, deals 20% up to 60.5% magic damage 5 times. That's just a regular skill, nothing that crazy. Right? I guess it's hitting multiple times, so that's good. But besides that, it's probably not going to hit as hard because the multiplier is a bit low. But yeah. Her passive is increasing magic damage 15% up to 45%. Like I said, as of right now, majority of the characters are only going to have these passives. But in the future, I can expect characters to have full below and paragraphs for their passives. Right? Alright, so that's your average passive. Her ultimate increases 30% up to 91% magic damage and reduces 30% up to 91% damage taken to allies with the highest attack power. Notice there's not no cool or like no time limit on this. So what does that mean? Does that mean when she ults for the whole fight, she's increasing your magic damage and reducing your damage taken by that much? Like, that's pretty good. Let's say, okay, so who would you... Yuri Jahad, that doesn't work for her because she's physical, right? But let's look at someone like what's his name? Khun Ran. He's increasing magic damage, right? His whole kit is skilled off of magic damage. So having someone like Xia Xia on his team is very good because she's increasing his magic damage and making it that he doesn't die quicker, right? Damage reduction by 91%. If he has the highest attack power, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Actually, this is a pretty good support character. I'm not gonna lie. Increases normal attack power for 7 seconds. Deals 20% magic damage to all enemies 10 times, and increases 20% attack speed for all allies for 2 seconds. So yeah, this girl all around is just a support, like a fantastic support. Honestly, that's a S tier character. Insane support. Probably, like, that's, in terms of just helping a character do a lot more damage, that's a fantastic support on the team. Right, that's a fantastic support on the team. And I have fought this girl multiple times. What she does do is she stays in the back too. So I guess against someone like the boss, what's his name? The bomb boss on 5-7, she might get one banged unless her HP is very high and she can tank it, right? But besides that, on anything else, she's going to actually be very useful. Actually insane. So we have Urek here. I think his name starts with an M, like something else. It's not Urek. I mean, it's Urek, but it's something else that I call him. I don't remember. Urek, we'll call him, right? So yeah, I put Xia Xia. Again, if I mispronounced her name, I apologize. Xia Xia in S tier. Now we have Urek, which is this guy here. Right? This is Urek. So yeah. Okay. First skill, reduces 10% up to 30% physical damage taken for 5 seconds. I mean, that's not the crazy. Okay, this is how I see it. If it's just reducing damage taken, that's good. But it's physical damage taken. Majority of the bosses, if for example, the bomb boss, is he physical? He's magic, right? He's magic damage, right? So the bomb boss, I'm keep saying the bomb boss on 5-7 because that's a boss that people are actually having like difficulty with, right? He's based on only magic damage. So if you're reducing physical damage that you're taking, that doesn't matter to characters or enemies that have magic damage. So in PvP, your first skill is basically useless to people who, like, I guess that's good against Yuri Jahad, but that's not good against characters like Khun Ran, Bomb, and all like these characters who are magic damage, right? That's not that crazy. Second skill, deals 75% up to 226.88% physical damage to target, taunts enemies for 3 seconds, and additional damage to shields. He deals additional damage to shields? As of right now, there's only like 2 bosses I fought with a shield. So that's part right here. If that's the case, not that crazy. But if he like absorbs a shield off of the damage he takes, if that's what they mean, then that's pretty good, right? I guess him having a taunt for 3 seconds means that he's going to be focused on, so I assume he builds up a shield, which is pretty good, right? But there's that, right? So his first skill is reducing his physical damage. His second skill is dealing physical damage to target and taunting. And then his passive is also reducing physical damage up to 45% from 15%. So him against someone like Yuri Jahad, yeah, that's a pretty good character, right? But against a character, majority of the characters from what I've seen right now have magic damage. That's not that crazy, right? This is only physical. This is a physical damage based character, right? It's not really that crazy. You know what I mean? His ultimate deals 75% up to 226.88% physical damage to all enemies. Reduces 5 up to 15% physical damage and additional damage shields. Like, that's, I don't know. I guess he does additional damage to shields. Is that what it is? Yeah, he's doing more damage to shields. So that's not crazy, bro. I'm not going to lie. Right now, that's a yikes. His TR increases, okay. Deals 75% physical damage to a target 3 times. Reduces 5% physical damage and does additional damage to shields. In total, he's not that crazy. Honestly, that's like a C tier character. Realistically, because again, I guess against Yuri Jahad, that's like A or B tier character. But because majority of the characters from what I've seen so far are based off magic damage, not only on legendaries. I'm talking about other if I can, I'll try to get a full a whole game tier list, right? But right now against that's just not that crazy if he's just focused on physical if he's focused on tanking physical damage basically, right? Next we have Hwaryun. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna just say Yoon. I'm sorry, I'm not sure exactly how I'm supposed to say that now. I don't remember how to say her name from the show either. Right, I know exactly she's the girl that had the black latex with the mask, right? Black latex outfit with the mask, but I don't remember how to say her name, so I apologize. But this is, if you know who I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. This is what she looks like, right? That's what she looks like. So yeah. Okay. So first skill deals 50% up. I have this character actually. I use her, so I know what she can does. How good she is, right? Deals 50% up to 151.25% physical damage to enemies in the front, and deals 25% up to 75.63% physical damage to enemies in rotation range 2 times. So that's the move that spins around. So kind of like a boomerang. She attacks it, throws it, it goes around, and it hits twice, right? So it hits them once when it's going, and when it comes back, it hits them again. Which is pretty good, right? Yeah, so that's actually pretty good. She hits them twice, and she's doing multiple. So she hits them first. The first hit's hitting 50 up to 150% physical damage, and the second hit is dealing 25 up to 75.63% physical damage. That's a pretty good one. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty good. Skill 2. Deals 100% up to 302.5% physical damage to the enemy who has the highest attack power, and reduces 49 up to 180 for enemy defense. That's pretty good. For a second skill, she's like up to 184 defense. That's pretty good. Because, for example, characters have like 200 defense. Enemies have 200 defense. So taking more than half of that is very good, right? It's gonna be easier to kill them. So that second skill is actually pretty good against enemies. Passive increases her physical damage. That's good because she's based off physical damage. And her EX reduces. Oh, okay. So it just reduces their defense by up to from 73 up to 221 just defense for 8 seconds. That's a good ultimate, right? It's good support, right? Let's say you use her ultimate instantly. And let's say, for example, like I said earlier, you can charge up your ultimate, right, before you go into a battle. You charge up everyone's ultimate, you launch hers first, and then you have Yuri Jahad on the team. Like, their defense is basically gone, and Yuri Jahad is nuking with a max ultimate. Make it make sense. That's kind of broken, right? Her TR increases her normal attack power again for 7 seconds. Deals 45% physical damage to enemies within range 4 times. That's a pretty good unit. You, I'm just gonna call her because again, I don't know how to say her name properly, or I just don't know how I'm supposed to say it, right? But her, I'm gonna say she's a A tier character, right? I think she has more use than someone like Ehwa and Hasung, right? Because one, she's dealing damage and she's supporting, right? Right. The fact that she just lowers their defense on her ultimate 2 is pretty good. By a lot, like not her. Yeah, she lowers their defense by a pretty high amount on her ultimate. It's pretty good, right? So, that's pretty good. I'm gonna keep her in A tier. Next, we have Anak. Yes, okay. So Anak, from what I hear, Anak's a fantastic character. So, let's see. Her first skill increases 500 up to 1,513 critical rate for 8 seconds. Here's my thing. That's very good. But imagine if that said critical rate for all allies. Then a character like this rock here would be good because he's increasing his critical damage by a lot, right? So a character like him, that would be very good. But the fact that she's increasing her critical rate by that much is kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty good. Second skill. 100 deals 150% up to 453.75% physical damage around the enemy with the highest attack power. That's good. That's basically an ultimate on a second skill. Right? Who has that? Where's Ehwa? Does she have it? Who was that? Was that? No, it might have been Beta. No, then it was. I think it was Ehwa. No, it's Yuri Jahad. Yuri Jahad has it, but hers is 400 base. Anak goes up to 400, but Yuri Jahad's is the ultimate. Anak's is a skill. But let me see, Ehwa, does she have it? Yeah, so this is Ehwa's skill. This is her ultimate, and it's such a less percentage to against someone like Anak. But hers is magic damage. Maybe magic damage has a different percentage than physical damage, but I'm not 1000% sure. I don't think it would. But that's pretty good for a second skill. That's an ultimate on a second skill, basically. Her passive increases 50% up to 45% critical damage. As you know, that's pretty good for her, I guess, because everybody has a passive like this. And then her ultimate deals 250% up to 756% physical damage to enemies within range, and increases 15% up to 45% physical damage for 16 seconds. So this Anak is gonna hit hard. Like, just say it off rip. Anak is gonna hit hard, right? Her TR increases normal attack damage, a normal attack power for 7 seconds, deals 75% physical damage to a single enemy 3 times. Like, Anak hits very hard. Probably second hardest hitting unit in the game, I think, after Yuri Jahad. And she's increasing her crit. Like, the fact that she's increasing her crit rate, not crit damage, her crit rate by this much means she's going to crit basically all the time. So, that's pretty good, right? So I'm gonna put Anak in S tier. I think that's actually kind of cracked. You know what I mean? Who do we got next? We have 2 more characters. So we have Bomb. So this Bomb is the Bomb I'm talking about when I say 5. This is the Bomb you fight on 5-7. Right? 5-7, this is the Bomb you fight, and he's broken. He's broken. I don't think it's the same one you have here. His name is Viole? Viole? I don't know how you say that, bro. Viole? I'm gonna just say Bomb. Bro, that's Bomb. I'm sorry. So Bomb, right? First skill. Deals 200% up to 605% magic damage to the farthest enemy and stuns them for 5 seconds. That's good, but that's good. But it's also, it depends, because the farthest, that's the backline enemy. So he's guaranteed attacks the backline enemy and stuns them for 5 seconds instead of 2 seconds like Yuri Jahad. Against single enemies, that's fantastic. Against enemies with minions, it depends, because the boss could still be in the back. So that's pretty good, actually. I think the only boss that comes up to the front is the little lizard dragon boss. But every other boss is in the back all the time, I believe. Right? Maybe the only other one besides the lizard one is probably the boss with the 4 arms and the 4 swords. That's probably the only one that comes up to you. Right? But, like, for example, the rice boss, he stays in the back all the time, even if he's not with enemies, but if he's with enemies, he stays in the back and stuff like that. So that's good. Skill 2 deals 200% up to... It's the same thing here. Okay, so it's not the same move, but it's same multiplier. Deals 200% up to 605% magic damage disturbed to enemies. Not disturbed. Distributed to enemies in the front. So this is hitting enemies in the front row. That's good then. His first skill is hitting the boss in the front, or enemies in the back, I mean. And then his second skill is hitting enemies in the front. And it's the same multiplier. So I guess that covers it. That covers like the back and the front issue right there. In terms of the middle row, it doesn't matter, I guess, because the boss is never... Like, if the boss is in the middle row, he's guaranteed moving. The boss is moving up to the front. And if it's in the back row, then it's in the back row, right? So that's pretty good. Right? His passive increases his magic damage and crit damage by 15% up to 45%. So this is the first character that increases 2 things at once for the passive. And then his ultimate deals 300% up to 907.5% magic damage to all enemies. Oh, that's good. That's a high multiplier to all enemies, not one enemy. That's a very high multiplier, and that's to all enemies. Yuri Jahad has 1,210% to one enemy, but this is to all enemies, and it's 907%. That's pretty good. His TR increases normal attack power for 7 seconds, deals 25% physical damage to enemies within range 6 times. That's good. I guess. I mean, it's nothing crazy. That's okay. Right, that's okay. It's nothing crazy. But that bomb is fantastic. I'll put him in S. Right? This bomb is going to be able to, check it out. He's going to be able to clear the front and the back row. He's going to be doing massive damage to every enemy on the team with his ultimate, and then he's increasing his magic damage and his crit damage from his passive. That is actually pretty good. And now, last but not least, we have Ivan. I call him Ivan, even though it's with an E. Ivan, these doesn't matter. First skill, recovers 20% up to 65% allies HP. Fantastic. Off rip, that's good, because the only other character in the game that increases your HP is Khun, and that's not really crazy for him, because Bomb can use that heal skill when you decide to put Khun on Bon, right? If you put Khun on Bomb, then Bomb will have that same healing skill that Khun has. So you don't need him. This is actually good. That's pretty good. Second skill, reduces 20% up to 61% damage taken for the allies with the lowest HP. Hold up. This guy's a full-blown support. He's not even an attacking character. Passive increases 15% to 45% life recovery. And then his ultimate increases 300% up to 908% allies defense for 16 seconds. And his TR increases normal... Let me see you guys. Make sure you guys see that. Yeah. His TR increases normal attack power for 7 seconds, which is useless because he doesn't have any normal attack skills. Deals 20% magic... Oh, I guess he does. His TR makes him deal 20% magic damage to enemies within range 5 times and recover 3% of the total HP to allies within range. Whoa. That's an S tier character. That's an S tier character. That's an S tier character. Actually best supported in the game. Probably better than Xia Xia. So yeah, this is the full-blown tier list. If you need it. I don't think there's any D tier characters. If anybody, I guess it would just be him, because his is only focused on physical damage. And Rock is, depends on, he is really could be up here. It just depends on what his crit chance is. Besides that, that's really it. Hope you guys watch. I mean, not the whole video, but I'll see you guys next time.